Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video today, I wanted to talk about something that I have not really seen really covered in any of the Azure certifications that I've ever taken. And this is called the resource graph queries. Okay, so this is a really nice feature that I have discovered and I have started using it, and it's wonderful and it's easy to use. Kusto query is kind of part of pretty much all the different certifications, so you kind of have to know how to write and read Kusto queries. And if you're already familiar with that type of queries, it will be very easy for you to get started. But let's see what you can do with resource graph queries. Okay, so this what when I think about this you can add this another tool for your Azure Governance, because this is where you can use these queries to quickly get a lot of information about how your deployments are present in Azure. If there are any health issues, okay, how many compute resources do I have, how many storage resources do I have, how many storage resources do I have in, say, Germany, things like that. You can ask questions, and the good thing about the resource graph query is you can apply that at scale, and the query can run over multiple subscriptions. Okay, that's a wonderful feature. So let's just get started and do some quick review how it works. Okay, I'm just gonna go to my Azure subscription. Okay, excuse me. So here, nothing crazy is going on. It's one of the free subscriptions that I have, that I test a bunch of different things within Azure. So the thing that I want you guys to focus on is the resource graph queries. So since I already was playing with this particular type of resource service, so it's already there in my under my Azure services. It may not be present in your Azure services. If it's not there, just come over here to the search bar that I love using, and then just search for resource, and then you have a whole bunch of things. You have the resource graph explorer and resource graph queries. So this is the one that we are interested in today, so let's just click on that one. And again, the experience is very similar, right? So it will actually take you to the resource graph explorer, and you can manage your views and you can open your queries. And here is something, open the resource graph explorer. So from here, really, you will be going to the resource graph explorer and running all the queries. Okay, so what I would also recommend, so since you are here, you also click on the learn more. Okay, that should give you take this page. So I was hoping that it will take you to the resource graph queries page, but it didn't. So what we'll do, we'll just search quick Google search resource graph Azure, and then we'll go to overview of Azure resource graph real quick, and just to give you the high level what it is. So if you read the documentation, I'm going to give you this link in my video so you can quickly get to that as well. So that's a service in Azure that provides designed to extend the Azure resource management by providing efficient and performant resource exploration with the ability to query at scale across a given set of subscriptions. So that's something that I already talked to you about. So here they have few bullet points: ability to query resources with complex filtering, grouping, and sorting. Like you will see that you can do joins just like you do in SQL type statements, and then ability to iteratively explore resources based on governance requirements. Again, I told you, take this as another tool set in your Azure Governance. Okay, when you are trying to implement, you are trying to review, audit, you can come and create your queries, save the queries for future use, and apply it at scale. That's excellent. Then ability to assess the impact of applying policies in a vast cloud environment, and then ability to detail changes made to resource properties. That is also very important. Like once you have when something has changed, what was changed, all of that tiny details you will be able to get out of this particular type of queries. Okay, instead of reading these, so let's go back to our resource graph queries, and just see how easy it is to use. Okay, I want you to get started this first, then see if you like it, then go back, read some more, learn some more, extend your queries. But let's get started with this. So I'm just going to click on here, Open Resource Explorer. You can also click on here as well. Does not really matter. So what you're seeing right now, so this is the resource graph queries, and you are in the Azure Resource Graph Explorer. So what you see here, you have the a query window where you can write all kinds of queries. Okay, you can open a query if you have something already that you have written. And over here, where I want you all to start is the example queries. Okay, so look, kind of queries they already have for you. Count Azure resources. So if you just need to run this, all you need to do is just click on open query, and now you have the query that is built in. So these are comments. I think most of you probably already know. So these are how you are adding comments in this query, and this is the code. So the comment they're in green, and the resource, and this is the code which is uncommented. This is what, when we hit the run query, these are the two lines that are actually going to run, and this is for you and me, this is for us, for the humans, and this is for the computer, right? And look how easy it is, the code. Resources, then this bar, and then summarize and count. And let's just run this query, and there we go. It's giving you that I have 15 different resources in my particular subscription that I have. Okay, so that's how easy it is. Okay, so let's go back and click on new query again. So that will bring you back. So you can actually change this query and then save it if you like, but I'm just not doing anything like that. I'm gonna come back here, go back to the next example queries. So here we have another example for counting the number of key vaults. Okay, so again I'm going to do open query, and if you look at this query, also looks like the previous one, but here we are adding a where clause. And if you're coming from a SQL background where we use where uh, to reduce the number of results, to filter out, right? So here where type, what type of resource we are looking for, Microsoft Key Vault false. Okay, let's see if I run this query, and some of the queries that you will not get a correct result, so you have to work with it and make sure that what you have is actually right. So yeah, so this one now, let's see, count didn't really give us anything. Two of them are the key vault queries. So sometimes when you are running, make sure that you are selecting all of the queries. So if you select maybe like the way I did it, I only selected maybe half of it and then ran, it just don't know what to do. So you have to select all of it and then run your queries to be able to get the right result. So now we know we have 15 number of resources within my Azure environment, and two of them are the Azure key vaults. Again, if you run it again, that's the two vault. So we're gonna run some more queries. So let's see the next example query. So the first virtual machine by name. Okay, so this one, again, if you run it, again, you see the thing that I want you guys to focus on, just be able to read these query languages as well. So here we have now the where clause and its type. So we are filtering down to Microsoft Compute because we are looking for virtual machines. And now virtual machine has different properties. So we are looking for the name, and then we are looking for the storage profile with disk and then with type, and then we are ordering by the name. I think I have probably one maybe virtual machine, so let's try and see what happens. Yeah, look, see, I have only one virtual machine. So what it gave me, it gave the name of the virtual machine that I have, and the properties with type is Windows. Okay, so those are the two things that we requested for, and I only have one, so you're just getting one. If you have multiple ones, they will be ordered and in a descending order by their name. Okay, so let's go back to the queries again and see show resources that contain storage. So again, that's important one. So if you want to know that, okay, I want to keep track of all of the storage accounts, because that's where your data is usually stored, and you want to make sure that they're all secure, no public access, stuff like that. Encryption is enabled. So you run this, and then again you run the query, and this one is just giving you, okay, you are using Microsoft storage, the storage account resource type. We need a little bit more advanced type query for the storage. So let's see if we have something else for them. Resources that contain storage, list of public. So you can also run this one to get the public access, public IP address. Probably the virtual machine will have a public access, a public IP. So yeah, there we go. So if you have a company policy, say you don't want to allow public access or public IP address assigned to your resources, okay, you can use this query to periodically go and check, and you have a exception list or allowed IP address. If you find something that is not included in that list, you know that someone has deployed a resource and assign IP address that violated your company policy. There are probably other way to prevent it as well, but this is one way to kind of keep an eye on what's going on with your environment. So let's see what else do we have. Okay, so we looked at the public IP address, and then here we have count resources that have a public IP address, and then by subscription with configured IP address. So if you have multiple subscriptions and you want to run this query, this I don't have multiple subscriptions, so there is no point in running this one. But if you did, then it will tell, okay, this IP address belongs to this subscription, dev subscription, this IP belongs to the prod subscription, things like that. Here another very useful query, list resources with a specific tag value. So this one you can look for by the tag. It will aliases for virtual machines, distinct values for specific alias, and then this is another one really cool. So unassociated network security group. So if you have created network security group but that you have not associated any interface or a subnet, it will find out what are those, and then you can think, okay, why did I create this NSG? Was I thinking about attaching this to some particular subnet? Why did I forget about that one? Now this one is really useful to me. List Azure Security Center recommendation. So this is something that I Azure Security Center that I use a lot for governance. So if you click the query looks a little bit complex, but good thing is you do not have to write this, right? Microsoft is already giving you the template. So if you look at it, where it's going to security resources, where type is Microsoft Security Assessment, okay? And then extend resource ID is ID, then recommendation ID is name, and then you have a whole bunch of properties that they're looking for, and then the project is just getting, okay, what's the tenant ID, what is the subscription ID, what is the resource ID, and all that stuff. So let's try to run this query, okay, because I want to show you something. Okay, I probably have not selected everything, so let's select everything again and then hit run. And now there we go. So I should have a recommendation. So this what you're looking at over here, these are, okay, subscription, then what resource ID got the problem and what is the recommendation here. Azure Defender for app services should be enabled, Azure Defender for storage should be enabled, email notification for high severity alerts should be enabled. Okay, so then SQL, Azure Defender for key vault should be enabled, network watches should be enabled. So all that security recommendation that is coming from the security center, now they're over here. So it says results 53, so looks like at least I have 53 different recommendations. Another good thing about it, every single time you run the query, you can download this report as a CSV file. So you can click on this and it is going to download this file. So now I have Azure resource something, and then we'll look at the name, and you have this as a CSV document. Now how you want to use it, it's up to you. Now you can have Excel if you're using Excel, or any other program. If you want to save this to a database, upload it, it's up to you how you use it, but it's very useful. So now you can do like what are the unhealthy resources that I have. Let's look at this. or maybe, okay, look at the high recommendations. Okay, which are the really high alerts that Azure is saying, okay, these are high importance, let's fix them first. Okay, and again, here's you have the description, and remediation description. So how you are even going to remediate this problem, you have some direction as well in here. And what type of assessment it's done, it looks like most of them is right now we have the built-in assessment. And policy definition ID, so Azure already got some policies, and those policies are going on, and it's evaluating if your resources, they're meeting the policies or not. So this is, I feel, a very very good feature. And this query that they have given you to as a template to start with, it's excellent. So, okay, we can use this template and then start adding some more where type, like where statements in here, to filter out even more to suit our need, right? So let's go back. Let's see if there's anything else around the security center. I think there were a few more. Here, this is the one we looked at, list Azure Security Center recommendations. Now here, count healthy, unhealthy, and not applicable. So the spreadsheet that we looked at, it had healthy, unhealthy, and not applicable type resources. So if we run this one, hopefully we'll get a count of, okay. So here we go. So unhealthy, how many? So the storage account should restrict access using virtual network. So this particular policy, we have 3 unhealthy resources. Okay, storage account should use the customer managed CMK for encryption. So typically Azure, they will encrypt your storage account at rest, but they're gonna use their own managed key, so you don't have to worry about it. But for a security standpoint, it's recommended that you use your own key vault, your own key. Maybe use it, even create Azure key vault and tie it back, but use your own key. Sometimes some customers, they will even have a key vault that is not even present in Azure. Okay, but it's good to know, okay, how many problem do we have. And then Azure Defender for DNS should be enabled. There is one problem. So that's again another way to look at it. Really nice summary of what are the problems I have. Okay, excuse me. Let's go back and look at few more before we stop. uh, let's see here. They have whole bunch. Okay, there is one, another one, like secure score per subscription. So Azure security score used to be a big number. Now they have security score in terms of percentages. So here you can run this query, and this one is going to give you what is the security score that we have for all of your subscriptions. I have only one subscription, but this one should give me something. So my percent score, it's giving you 0651. That means I have what, 6.51%. That seems low. So let's just double check and verify is that's what we want. Okay, I'm just gonna go to security center real quick, just to validate that the numbers that we are seeing is kind of correct. Okay, so you, as a security person, you always want to verify. Okay, so now this is saying I have only 6% my security score, and it could be up to 100%, right? So I'm pretty satisfied. So the number that I had was 6 point something percent, which is close to 7%. Here they are rounding it up. So let's just go back. So the query that we ran last, let's see, which one did we run last? Okay, we'll just find it over here. Security score per subscription, that's what we ran, and it was 6.51. So you have to multiply that by 100%, right? So 6.51 means if you run it up, it's a 7%. So I believe the queries are working just fine. All right, so let's go and see anything else interesting from a security standpoint. Okay, so here you have another one, regulatory compliance assessment state. So this one you can also use regulatory compliance state per compliance standard. So you can have multiple compliance standards. So you can use this one to look for your regulatory standard compliance, how many are meeting your regulatory standard. and you can specify what standard you want to use. Count machines in scope of guest configuration, all active service health events, all active service issue events, all active planned maintenance events, so all active health advisory events. So I mean, if you look at it, list available OS updates for all of your machines. So just run one of those, some of the other. So here right now I don't have any recommendation, no updates are actually present. That's what it's telling me. But hopefully you have enough idea, okay, uh, to how to use this. Other thing that I want to get you attention, so you can, over here they have these little tables and what different types of resources it really supports. So you can like click on any of these, okay, and then you can start running queries. Like here, advisory resource, we don't have any advisory available at the moment. For example, let's see over here, so resources, if you just click on that one, let's see if we have anything interesting in this one. Say Microsoft, this one has so many different things, so you have to kind of go through it. Microsoft Cloud's accounts, no, so this is just, now you're extending your where type more just by clicking different things in here. Do you see it, how it's working? So let me just close this one down, close this one down. Let's see, get all of them out of it. Then let's see, policy resource, and then let's see, have twice. So let's see if I can run this one, and if it runs. So this is probably not right way to run it. So let's I have it twice. So let's run this one. So what I just did here, I just went to the policy resource, and I want to look at the policy state. How are the policies are being applied? So again, so I have now results 139. So these are, again, I'm talking about from a security standpoint. When you have an Azure automatically apply default security center policies, and how the policies are applied, you are getting that result back in here. Okay, so again, you can download this one, and this is 139 different type of policies that are being applied to various different type of resources. Okay, so if you want details, you can get that as well from your security center. So just remember that 139. So you can go to security center, and your policies are probably going to be let's look at what we have under the regulatory compliance. So here, as your security benchmark, they're only saying 39 of them are passing. And here there was a problem that we already saw when we were running the Azure Defender. That was an advisory that we noticed when we were running the previous queries, right? So security policy, if you go over there, so click on this one, and let's see what this one says. So this one is saying that we have a ASC default that is automatically gets assigned to this particular subscription, and 185 of them are actually added, and disabled policies, there are 7 of them that's been disabled at the moment. Anyway, so security center is not the focus of this particular video that I wanted to do. Before I finish, I wanted to go back over here, and I just want to show you there are more things that you can learn from here, and few things. This Azure Resource Graph, at the moment it's a free service, and there is a throttling going on. Okay, it's a free service, so if you want to use it at scale, and if you are seeing problem, you can possibly contact Microsoft and see if they can help out with your need for this particular query, and how often you're running. Again, like any other type of services, you can get the output the way you want, either from the portal or from the resource graph explorer. This is kind of what we did. You can use your CLI, you can use PowerShell, you can use Python, and you can use so much. Okay, so they have a tutorial over here. Okay, then they have some sample queries, they have even advanced queries examples that you can look at. Okay, and you can read some of these and say like virtual machine skill sets if you have any. I don't have any for this. Then list all tag names, like you can copy some of this even over here, come back over here, go to resource graph queries, go to resource graph explorer, and just paste that command just like that, and you run. And this is the only tag that I have. As I said, this is a free subscription, and I really not worried about the tax at the moment. But if you are in an enterprise edition, in enterprise company that you are managing, probably there are multiple tags, and you just want to know what kind of tags people are using, if they're following a certain standard, things like that. So again, go back here and look at this. So before, what my recommendation is, before you create your own queries, just take a look at it and see what are already provided by Microsoft. It's a really good resource. So use that to start your template, then build onto it. So if you're looking through it, you know that we looked at Cosmos DB, SQL, storage account with a specific tag, so whole bunch of queries that already we have. Then some advanced things that I mentioned early part of the video, that you can do joins, unions, stuff like that, just exactly that you do in a SQL type statements. So here are some examples that you can look through, go through, and enhance the experience you're gonna have with Azure resource queries. Okay, hopefully this has been a good introduction to the Azure Resource Graph queries. Use it, and again, I use this as a tool for my overall Azure governance. There are multiple different things that you use for governance, right? You can use it starts with the tenant, then say your subscription management group, RBACs, access control, your policies, okay, your deny policies, audit policies, all of that, blueprints, okay, and then some other case you can use PIM, and then your access control. And over here as well, this is another tool that you can use to kind of govern uh, what you have within your Azure. Quickly figure out and create summary and type of report that you need, that you don't have access, like a customized report. You can always come over here, create your own, and solve the problem. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, leave a comment, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like, say that hey, you could have done this separately, and this way would have been more better and more useful, and I would love to hear those comments as well. Thank you. Have a great day. Hope you are enjoying your Azure as much as I do. Thank you. Bye bye.